Well, friends, Donald Trump, former President of the United States, future President of the United States, and now, officially and for all time, convicted felon. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. Well, friends, Judge Juan Merchan sentenced Donald Trump today on his 34 felony guilty verdicts. Let's start with the new reporting, and then let's talk takeaways. This, from the New York Times, highlights from Trump's sentencing in his New York criminal case. The president-elect received an unconditional discharge of his sentence, which spares him jail time, but formalizes his status as a felon. He will be the first to carry that distinction into the White House. After months of delay, President-elect Donald Trump's New York criminal case culminated on Friday with the nation's former and future president avoiding jail, but becoming a felon. Quote, "Never before has this court been presented with such a unique and remarkable set of circumstances," the trial judge, Juan Merchan, said at Mr. Trump's sentencing. "This has been truly an extraordinary case." He then imposed a so-called unconditional discharge of Mr. Trump's sentence, a rare and lenient alternative to jail or probation. Explaining the leniency, Justice Merchan acknowledged Mr. Trump's inauguration 10 days hence. Quote, "Donald Trump, the ordinary citizen, Donald Trump, the criminal defendant, would not be entitled to the protections of the presidency," Justice Merchan said, explaining that only the office shielded the defendant from the verdict's gravity. Quote, "This court has determined that the only lawful sentence that permits entry of judgment of conviction without encroaching on the highest office of the land is an unconditional discharge," Justice Merchan said. He then wished Mr. Trump Godspeed and departed the bench. Despite the lenience, the proceeding carried symbolic importance. It formalizes Mr. Trump's status as a felon, making him the first to carry that dubious designation into the presidency. Mr. Trump appeared virtually, his scowl projected onto a screen in a chilly and bright Lower Manhattan courtroom filled with reporters, sketch artists, and the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg. The sentencing resulted from Mr. Trump's conviction on charges of falsifying records to cover up a sex scandal that threatened to derail his first campaign. Once the jury convicted Mr. Trump on all 34 felony counts in May, he fought tooth and nail to avoid the spectacle of a sentencing, but on Thursday, the Supreme Court rejected his effort to block it. The hearing began with a lead prosecutor, Joshua Steinglass, recapping the overwhelming evidence and saying that the prosecution had recommended that Mr. Trump receive the unconditional discharge. But Mr. Steinglass still blasted Mr. Trump, saying that far from expressing any kind of remorse for his criminal conduct, the defendant has purposefully bred disdain for our institutions and the rule of law. Mr. Trump, he added, has caused enduring damage to public perception of the criminal justice system and has placed officers of the court in harm's way. And then Prosecutor Steinglass said the following, quote, "The defendant sees himself as above the law and won't accept responsibility for his actions," Mr. Steinglass said, quoting a pre-sentencing report that would normally carry significant importance. So let's talk takeaways. The punishment, or I guess more accurately, the sentence, but let's go with the punishment doesn't fit the crimes. The punishment doesn't fit the criminal who committed the crimes. However, both the prosecutors and Judge Merchan decided that the sentence, the punishment, somehow fits the office of the presidency. Because Judge Merchan said he didn't want to impose a punishment that could be seen as encroaching on the office of the presidency. I think the punishment, more precisely the absence of a punishment, actually makes a mockery of the office of the presidency. Allowing the criminal to hold up as a shield against accountability, against punishment, the office of the presidency. And friends, the third and final takeaway, and I take no pleasure in saying this, but I think it's undeniable. Donald Trump has made America a laughingstock around the world. Let's hope that the good people in and out of government, but perhaps most directly in government, the 2.1 million civil servants, honest, honorable, ethical, hardworking civil servants of the federal government, let's hope they do what they can to constrain Donald Trump's worst instincts and inclinations. I think we all recognize the absence of accountability represented by no punishment of Donald Trump for his crimes. Yes, we see in a very clear-eyed way the absence of justice. But friends, to us, justice continues to matter, even when it is not achieved, even when our institutions of government fail. We still value justice. We still seek justice. And I'll be damned if we're not going to keep fighting for justice. Because justice matters. Hang in there, friends. Please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.